young umar mein bade legend ho chuke already. You know, the thing is, I know one very big artist once who told me, sir, please legend mat bulao mujhe. You know, that's when the career starts to evaporate. But Salim Sulaiman ka career kabhi evaporate nahi hota. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure.
But it is the truth. You all have been, you all have this tag with you. It's almost like you may have been, say, 20, 30 years or 30 years in the industry, but आप पले बड़े हो इसके अंदर. So this is like a way of life for you all. You know, it's not like something जिसको आपको बताया गया था कि इसके अंदर घुसना है. ये थे, this was already there. तो अभी it's okay.
ये ऐसी बात नहीं है. When we started off, we didn't think that we were going to get into film industry.
But music industry तो था.
We were making music.
तभी म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री थी कहाँ? तभी तो फिल्म इंडस्ट्री ही थी.
हाँ.
म्यूजिक बहुत कम बनता था आउटसाइड.
इंडिपेंडेंट म्यूजिक तो था ही नहीं.
सिर्फ गजल, ओनली गजल्स एंड क्लासिकल था.
राइट.
अभी खैर इंडिपेंडेंट म्यूजिक बहुत बड़ा हो गया.
एक्सप्लोड हो रहा है.
So at that point is when we started making music.
And all these instruments also, you know, what you don't understand is their understanding of instruments also is such because they've dealt so much in them. So a lot of the instruments that you use probably have gone through this very studio. The understanding is increased or not now because of technology over the years. Do you feel that nazandaz ho gaya ye reality wale instruments?
नहीं, बिल्कुल. We always use real instruments. एक ऐसे होता है कि mock बना लिया.
Right.
You just to see if it's sounding good.
Right.
And then ultimately you call a real musician.
Yeah.
Not virtual.
Yeah.
How is, you know, you look at the last 5-7 years, it's been a sea of change with content, okay? So today what's happened is the how should I say this, the insecurity of an artist has reduced a lot because the number of mediums is a lot.
Absolutely.
So if you don't get a call from music directors and composers, they come out with their own stuff.
Yeah.
Then you might call them, say, a year later and want to buy out their stuff also. You know, that situation's happened.
वो भी होता है.
But
Is this the best time to be a creator?
It's a fantastic time. It's always been a great time for creators. But what's happening is independent music is trying to sound like film music. And film music is trying to sound like independent music.
Actually, music sounds like music now. ऐसे, let's keep it at this. क्योंकि when you ultimately open up an app to listen to music,
right,
you're not looking at कि भाई ये film का गाना है या non-film है, ये artist कौन है, गाना सुनते हैं लोग.
Correct.
Right? They just switch on your phone. Everything is on your phone now. और सुनते हैं तो ये नहीं देखते कोई भी कि हिंदी you know it's come from the classical background से है. अगर गाना पसंद आता है तो it goes into your playlist.
ये बात सही है, लेकिन आज भी people watch music. जो वीडियो मीडियम है,
right,
वो बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया. अभी जाहिर है कि कोई अगर नॉन फिल्म का गाना है तो वो आर्टिस्ट के ऊपर फिल्म होता है या कोई मॉडल के ऊपर शूट होता है. बट जब कोई एक्टर उस गाने को लिपसिंग दे रहा होता है तो उसकी अहमियत बढ़ी जाती है.
Of course.
पर ये जो ब्रिज है बिटवीन आर्टिस्ट एंड एक्टर, ये धीरे-धीरे कम होता है.
It's becoming the same.
Yeah, I mean,
Artist is becoming an actor and actor is becoming an artist.
You see, that was always going to happen when you had, there was a long time back when a director acted in his own film. There would be, oh, what are you doing? Aren't you losing perspective? And I think all of that has changed. But how do you maintain musical perspective? So much is changing across. I look at the West and I see, even in things like hip-hop, there's so much change. In rap culture, there's so much change. In country music also, there's so much change,
Yes.
Indian maybe, the basic idea has not changed.
नहीं, बहुत change हुआ है सर.
Really?
Like for instance, hip-hop.
Right.
Hip-hop एक नया, obviously hip-hop has been around in the world for many years. But India में ये पिछले 10 साल में बहुत ज़्यादा मशहूर हो गया. So many artists have come up. जो लोग
Film also helped when a version of hip-hop was in Gully Boy, so that.
ऐसे कोई, और कितनी अच्छी चली वो पिक्चर. ऐसे कई लोग हैं जो लिखते हैं बहुत अच्छा है और उसको रिसाइट कर सकते हैं अच्छे से, पर गा नहीं सकते.
True.
लेकिन उसको ताल में उसको रिसाइट कर सकते हैं. बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो करते अभी थोड़ा बहुत गाना भी लग गए, who are really good hip hop artists. और hip hop as a movement बहुत ज़्यादा empower किया हुआ है.
Huge.
बहुत empower किया है लोग को, पोइट्री, कविता, शेर, शायरी, इसको सब ज़्यादा अभी और अहमियत देने लगे हैं because of rap. There's a lot of that. किस तरह से राइम करना, किस तरह से उसको पोइट्री को रिदम में गाना.
But tell me over there also, it's everybody can't do it well, let's put it this way, but it spread so much. I'll tell you, in my radio stations also, if I look at the television channels also, there's a time sometimes out of 20 songs I'm sitting 15 are these kind.
Yeah.
And so then you're trying to get the classical film music across say the kind that you guys make, which is over the years, you will still be singing a Shukran Allah, right? You might not know a rap song after 5 years. But the current world to fight, is it a big fight now?
No, fight to nahi. I mean, even we work with so many hip hop artists. Like, last year we did something with Raftar.
Yeah.
This year we're doing something with someone else.
Yeah.
So वो चलता रहता है. And I personally like hip hop a lot. And I feel like, जहाँ पे आप industry को ज़्यादा separate नहीं करे, or because it's also part of music. Hip hop is a huge part of music.
Yeah.
And it is music. It has a lot of rhythm. It has a lot of poetry.
Yeah.
It has a lot of beats. And it's, we personally, both of us really love listening to hip hop.
So as they say, industry के अंदर जो भी change हो रहा है,
Right.
it's always a good thing, because change is the only constant in our lives.
True, yeah.
And so you keep moving, you keep listening to, हम लोग सुनते हैं, बहुत सारा music सुनते हैं, अलग-अलग genres का, अलग-अलग देशों का. And when we hear something interesting, we want to be able to give it to our fans.
Right.
Yeah.
So we would like to incorporate that idea, that style, into something that is Indian, suits the Indian palate, but also has something from what we heard. So it's a great way to educate our listeners कि भाई एक ही ये नहीं है. There's so many other things that you can hear, and it's beautiful to be able to give it to our listeners and say, hey, listen, this is something that we've heard, we like. How about you? Do you like it or?
But today you've got the 15-second litmus test. How do you find the real litmus test when you travel across the world with your shows?
यार ये भी बदल जाएगा.
Really?
आजकल लोग of course reels के लिए music बना रहे हैं.
Yeah.
कौन बनाएगा?
It's insane.
I mean, literally, like a lot of films also, film music also ऐसी. Barring a few, respected composers जो लोग आज भी गाने बनाते हैं.
Right.
Reels के लिए नहीं, but फिल्मों के लिए.
Yeah.
But mostly आजकल film producer, director भी सोचता है कि यार ये गाना reel में चल रहा है आज. But it's okay, mediums चलते हैं.
Is it insulting? Is it insulting?
नहीं यार.
It's a change.
यार
right?
इतने साल काम करने के बाद ना, I honestly feel, एक तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि everything new is a cool thing. The minute you feel कि यार ये क्या नया sensation है, that's the time you feel you yourself are challenging yourself कि यार नहीं, now अभी आपकी उम्र हो गई. Because the trends are changing so fast. You have to be with it.
And I actually, a lot of the older music also, like Jhoom of Ali Zafar, 11 साल के बाद
वापस trend
वापस आया. And he himself was, it's all the country and saying, "Arey, getting so much love from India." And I can't believe, I don't even remember it 11 years back.
Yeah.
Which is actually a sad, now I don't know how long the public memory will be. When you travel for your shows, are they into the newer music? Or for them, it's Salim Sulaiman, the music that of theirs.
We were very fortunate that because movies like Chak
got popular songs.
so there are such big songs. हमने इतने हमारे गाने जो है वो कुछ गाने पॉपुलर भी नहीं हुए थे, which are really nice.
Right.
उसके अगर हम लोग अभी lo-fi mixes बनाए तो शायद वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा चलेगा. So lo-fi is a new thing also, right? Which is working a lot.
So for my audience that won't understand what lo-fi is, what is the difference between when you change a current song into a lo-fi version?
There is really no actual explanation, but lo-fi mein people like to listen to a lot of vocals. Reverb vocals. Reverb vocals.
It's more peaceful.
And it's studied. It's studied as
unplugged type version.
It's actually pure electronic.
It's electronic. But it's mainly vocal, reverbed vocals. And just some subliminal like
a background में music type
कुछ हाँ. और basically the study was such that किसी ने जिसने lo-fi शुरू किया था वो a lot of students these days who are studying बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ाई करते हैं वो lo-fi music सुनते हैं. Because वो ज़्यादा irritate नहीं करता, वो पीछे background में चलता रहता है. और उनकी
So it doesn't demand attention.
It's got a very
like hypnosis.
Correct. It's got a hypnotic effect.
Yeah.
So ये research है कि lo-fi helps the younger. That's why see a lot.
तो आपके तो ऐसे बहुत गाने हैं जो vocal heavy गाने.
हाँ.
तो आपको ये तो निकालने चाहिए lo-fi.
हम लोग कर रहे हैं ना, हमारी जो लेबल है Merchant Records जो हमने 2 साल पहले शुरू की थी, तो उसके बहुत सारे पॉपुलर गाने जो है वो क्योंकि राइट्स हमारे पास ही है तो हम उसके lo-fi mixes करते हैं.
Alright. See, you have to understand, also, they're technically very superior, okay, to a number of musicians across in the country because they started off in the technical part of it. Like I said, the history of musical instruments, they used to deal with them, that's how they know them so much. And then, of course, Bollywood, of course, has been part and parcel of their life. But if you understand the technology very well, then you can stay ahead of the trend, so as to say. Every time people talk about everlasting songs, everlasting music. They always say their music has stood the test of time. And there's a reason for that, because when it was made, it wasn't made with a 7-day deadline or a 6-hour deadline, as so many times it happens. You probably spent, what's the longest time you spent developing an album for a film?
चक दे इंडिया,
Yeah?
I think
Yeah.
4 महीने लग गए थे, 5 महीने,
Wow.
4-5 महीने लगे थे। उसमें सिर्फ गाना टाइटल सॉन्ग को ही बहुत टाइम लगा था, 2 महीने से 2-2.5 महीने टाइटल सॉन्ग को ही लगे थे, because 6-7
So you have not lot of versions of that also, जो
Yeah. 7-8
versions
अच्छा, that didn't reach the final cut.
Means वो कुछ तो हमारे से ही नहीं निकले.
हाँ,
We only said
हमने
it's not working.
उसको निकाल दिया हमारे।
Some director didn't like, some producer didn't like. Finally, it came around and said, "यार boss, I want, तुम लोग बहुत अलग गली में जा रहे हो. I want a जुम्मा चुम्मा.
अच्छा.
I want to celebrate India."
Yeah.
बोला अच्छा ठीक है चलो फिर वैसे करते हैं.
तो
We actually sang.
आपको कॉपीराइट मिलते क्या? क्योंकि जब भी इंडिया जीतती है तो ये प्ले होता है.
हाँ नहीं वो एक अलग, उसके लिए अलग इंटरव्यू करना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए अलग इंटरव्यू करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन he actually sang चक दे इंडिया,
अच्छा.
जुम्मा चुम्मा दे,
Oh, really?
चक दे इंडिया। अभी इससे मुझे एक चीज मिल गया कि अगर हम चक दे गाना बनाएंगे तो इट शुड बी चक दे इंडिया।
अच्छा.
That's why it's
वो
चक दे इंडिया। You understand?
I don't think we ever discussed
So,
this. It's crazy.
बहुत सारे
I've
ऐसे
so many times.
हाँ, तो ये और गाना ऑब्वियसली हम लोग ऐसे अटक गए थे। आई कॉल्ड जयदीप वन डे, आई टोल्ड हिम यार कुछ करते हैं यार, तो उसने पहली लाइन वही लिखे, कुछ करिए। कुछ करिए, बोला भाई
You're not making this up.
I swear, no.
mad or what?
This has happened right here in the studio.
This happened right here। तो उसने, मैं उसको बोला भाई कुछ कर, तू लिख, तू शुरू कर, बिकॉज हम लोग जो गाने ट्यून्स बना रहे हैं वो एक्चुअली हमारे से ही आगे नहीं जा रहे हैं, एंड आई मीन सम ऑफ देम ऑफ कोर्स द डायरेक्टर प्रोड्यूसर डिडंट लाइक, बट कुछ तो हमने ही उसको कैंसिल कर दिए थे। तो इफ यू राइट समथिंग ना,
You get a
कुछ कर
base.
यार, तू कुछ कर, ऐसे जयदीप तू कुछ कर यार, तू लिख यार
कुछ करिए.
उसने एक्चुअली लिखा
करिए.
कुछ करिए, नस नस मेरी खौले, उसने ऐसा लिखा सर। मैं बोला देख, मैं ना एंड में चक दे इंडिया करने वाला हूँ, तो कुछ करिए लिखकर, कुछ करिए, नस नस मेरी
ऐसा रिदम बैठा.
नस मेरी खौले, कुछ करिए, ऐसे कुछ करते।
I wish you'd shot some of these BTS, that time.
अरे यार तभी
यही सब चलता.
तभी concept ही नहीं था.
कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं था BTS का।
तो जिंदगी भर के लिए कंटेंट रेडी रहता कि ये गाना बना कैसे। आजकल मैं कई बार जाता हूँ, जो पुराने रिकॉर्डिंग्स में जाते हैं, आर डी बर्मन साहब के एंड ऑल दैट, उसमें जो सेशंस होते हैं, सेशंस के लोग ऐसे बैठे होते हैं,
फोटोज है ना सिर्फ, पिक्चर्स
नहीं कुछ रिकॉर्डिंग्स रहती हैं। लता दी की थोड़ी सी रिकॉर्डिंग है, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है मुझे। एनीवे, कमिंग टू म्यूजिकल्स, परहैप्स अ जॉनर दैट इज सो एलियन टू एवरीबॉडी अक्रॉस। मैं दिल्ली थिएटर से हूँ,
Correct.
तो दिल्ली में इंग्लिश म्यूजिकल्स बहुत होते थे, पीटर पैन से लेकर सारे, ऑर्केस्ट्रा होता था, लाइव ऑर्केस्ट्रा नीचे प्ले कर रहा होता था। आई वाज इन अ स्कूल माउंट सेंट मैरी, जॉर्ज पुलिंकला सर, व्हिच वाज केके सर स्कूल आल्सो। George Pulinkala sir was my teacher, and he was a saxophonist, he used to play there. And we've seen that live, but once I came to Mumbai, this concept sort of eroded, and it's not really
वैसे मुंबई में भी, सॉरी
Actually,
टू से, मैं बहुत प्राउड मुंबई का हूँ। पृथ्वी थिएटर तो सुना होगा।
हाँ सर, but इतना होता है म्यूजिकल, लेकिन सच बताइए।
नहीं बहुत होता था। NCPA, in fact NCPA was built long ago, right? So there were so many plays, so many theaters which,
So what's happened now?
So slow है, मतलब जो it's not a very पहली बात तो to set up a musical it costs a lot of money. Obviously जो उसकी ऑडियंस है वो नीश है, you don't see such a, और इंडिया में क्या है कि we've always been a film driven thing, not so much theater driven। पर ऐसा नहीं है कि थिएटर नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं है, छोटे गांव में तो थिएटर्स ही
बिल्कुल नहीं, गुजराती मराठी थिएटर्स फैंटास्टिक। मुझे लगा है कि इंग्लिश कई बार ना इट्स स्टिल नॉट लाइक एज अप्रिशिएटेड। तो अब ये जो लंदन में आ रहा है, बियॉन्ड बॉलीवुड,
रायल पदमसी जैसे आपने सुना होगा,
of course Alec and Ryan,
they kept
they were not really musicals, they was theater.
Sure.
But musicals जो the concept basically started in the West. And
Broadway was all that.
Broadway was
हमारी
all
बड़ी
that.
तमन्ना थी to make a musical which really represents India, represents the culture of India, and that's why beyond Bollywood तो
It's not just Bollywood.
और स्टोरी बहुत कमाल की स्टोरी। इट्स अबाउट अ कोरियोग्राफर who is a Bollywood choreographer and a young girl who's from Munich, from Germany, जिसकी मदर जो होती है वो कथक डांसर होती है, और वो उनका मतलब देहांत हो जाता है। she unfortunately dies in one of her plays। तो लड़की
And she leaves her legacy.
हाँ, उसकी
उसका थिएटर।
माँ की एक वो होती है कि ख्वाहिश होती है कि मेरी बेटी इंडियन संस्कृति से मेरे देश है और मेरी कला से जुड़े, और वो होती है वेस्टर्न डांसर।
Right.
तो वो अपनी माँ की ख्वाहिश पूरी
उसका
करने के
amalgamation
लिए
होता है।
पूरी करने के लिए वो इंडिया आती है, और वो एक इस बॉलीवुड कोरियोग्राफर के साथ में जुड़ जाती है एज एन असिस्टेंट। ये बॉलीवुड कोरियोग्राफर जो होता है वो एक फोक डांसर होता है एक्चुअली, लेकिन उसको काम नहीं मिलता है फोक इंडस्ट्री में, तो वो बॉलीवुड फिल्म में काम कर देता है। लेकिन जब ये लड़की और दोनों का जब प्रेम कथा इनकी आगे बढ़ती है, तो लड़की को पता लगता है कि एक बहुत अच्छा एक कथक भी जानता है, ये बहुत अच्छा ये क्या कहते हैं, अलग अलग डांस फॉर्म्स भी, फोक डांस भी जानता है। तो इस तरह से इन लोगों का प्रेम बढ़ता है, और ये लड़का इस लड़की को एक हिंदुस्तान के पूरा एक सफर टूर कराता है, जहाँ उसको कलबेलिया डांस बताता है राजस्थान में, जहाँ उसको गिद्दा बताता है पंजाब में, जहाँ उसको उड़िया में
So that's how you go like a Bharat Darshan.
तो वो हम
with
लोग
music and with
that's
dance.
why it's
Correct.
beyond Bollywood, और ये बहुत ही it's ultimately a love story,
Yeah.
but it has so much to do about, and because इसमें Bollywood choreographer
Of course.
story है, तो वो भी है, Bollywood भी है और folk भी है इसमें, so it's
But
got
was
a
it
nice
difficult to like make music for it throughout?
It's difficult to make music for
in general.
नहीं वैसे नहीं, but especially folk, when you're looking at folk music is very ethnically, यानी उसका sound ही अलग है.
Right.
Yeah.
We had to make sure that we got that music up to the level where it becomes palatable to today's sound.
Correct.
या आज लोग वो सिर्फ ढोलक के साथ सुनते हैं तो बोलते हैं यार ये क्या अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है,
खाली लग रहा है।
हाँ खाली लग
So
रहा है.
we created that orchestral thing with percussions and with with folk rhythms, and इसमें folk dance भी है, लेकिन इसमें एक orchestral treatment है, so which is really like beautifully listenable, एक classic sound भी है उसका, और it's a sound that the Westerners like also. It's also very good for the Indian crowd.
Yeah, because Rajiv was saying that the response has been very interesting.
Yeah.
It took a while to kick off. जो पहला इसका एक version था, then now the reworked version.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now London is coming back to the theaters in hordes.
Big time.
Hordes.
Big time.
मतलब उनका revenge real हो रहा है post pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's a right time. So do you think that this is what they lap up again?
Oh yeah,
It's not just lap up. See, there is a theater के अंदर अगर वहाँ पे देखने जाए तो there is nothing Indian that's running.
That's
so हमारी Indian audience के लिए you can go and see the Western theater and it's all beautiful, but something Indian, something to do with India.
और इतनी Indian diaspora है ही वहाँ
And
पे.
it shows you
guys,
India,
it's
which
not
means you
a-
are sitting in the theater and you can go.
It's not
through
just
the
for
whole
Indians.
of
I want to
India.
stop him here. It's not just for Indians. This musical is actually for everybody. It's such a beautiful tour of India. It's such a great reflection of our tradition, of our culture, that whether you're from England, you're from America, you're from Sweden or whatever, अगर आपको Indian culture समझना है and you want to listen to what India is all about.
In 2 hours you get all this.
It's a beautiful love story, very entertaining. There's a lot of comedy pieces. It's a great package. It's a great entertaining.
You all
musical.
been around when you hadn't seen it live also?
2016 में हमने लंदन में ही स्टार्ट किया.
London में start किया था इसको, and then we are bringing it back to London.
It opened at the London Palladium
Yeah.
at Oxford, and then it ran there for 3 months. It had
Were you like surprised when they did get the nod for it, and when the audience reaction came?
No, we
like
were
when did
sure.
it? Yeah, but when did it like suddenly become like, all right, people are really coming to see this, and for seconds.
So when we made the show, we had a showcase for a promoter in the UK, and they really liked it, and so then उससे हिम्मत बढ़ी, and then we got the theatre. London Palladium ऐसे मिलना
impossible.
Impossible.
So Oxford Theatre, it's right at Oxford Circus, and we got the theatre, and we got some people to back it, because it was one of its kind show. It was it was a Bollywood show. At the same time, it had more than just Bollywood. It had some folk elements. It had some traditional
Culture
elements.
बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Yeah. And see the girl also, no? She comes from Munich. इस story में वो जर्मनी की लड़की है, तो उसका dancing बड़ा western है, और ये अपना जो Indian बंदा है, जो
Mix is nice.
तो it has a great amalgamation of west and east. So the story, it's actually a love story. It's like a Hindi film on stage. So people really liked it. They wanted to see Bollywood. They wanted to see a love story, and it had a story which has also got a lot of a lot of depth, and it has a lot of inspirational quality. कि एक लड़की अपनी you know, she goes
माँ
and-
का सपना पूरा कर रही है.
माँ का सपना पूरा करी, अपनी खुद की ख्वाहिश पूरी करी है. So you know from so and then suddenly the show, उसकी जो थिएटर जो उसने म्यूनिक में छोड़ा हुआ था, वो ये लड़का जो है वो उसको वो म्यूनिक आता है और वो थिएटर को बचाता है. Because the theater was going to go down and it was going to be so.
You're giving away all the
But you all
whole
explained
story.
it better than Rajiv himself.
You
It's
have
beautiful.
to see the show. You have to see the show to believe it because it's such an inspirational story.
Yeah.
Love story to hai, inspirational story. It's about how you, through your art, through your passion, through your belief, you can actually, you know, achieve your goal.
This is the kind of passion also for 30 years that they've been making music. You need it. I have my crew sometimes. I say, भाई आपको मजा कैसे आता है इतने काम में? मैंने कहा काम नहीं है हमारे लिए ये. You know,
अपनी साधना है.
आपके लिए साधना है, मेरे को तो मजा आता है बस. I enjoy it so much that every day is a fun day. And you know, so many parts that you could have got cynical. In this interview itself also, changes are happening. You know, when you've been doing it for 3 decades and you with such big names, कई बार change is yes, it's a constant, but also it's difficult to accept.
It is difficult.
यार आप खाना change नहीं करने को तैयार होते हैं. दाल अगर change हो आती है आप बोलते हो कुक को हटा दो. यहाँ तो musical taste ही total छोटा हो चुका है. So thank you so much for doing what you all do all these years. And this is one of the few times you'll catch them in a studio. Otherwise, catch them on Instagram traveling. Amazing. But which is great. What's next on the tour for you guys?
We are going to the US, United States for
Actually,
a very
before
big
that,
tour.
we're going to Singapore.
We're going to Singapore.
Okay.
Esplanade. We are performing for the 75th Independence
Day, yeah.
But we are doing it in Singapore with the Singapore and Indian High Commission, whatever. And
then America.
And then we go to United States for a big 6-city tour. उसके बाद हम Canada जा रहे थे for some time.
Tell me.
And
on
then
the tour are you
it's all over. It's all
अच्छा,
over.
और?
And then we come to India, back to Bombay, and we shoot our most prestigious and the most loving project जो हम हर साल करते हैं. It's called Bhumi.
Yeah,
So
of
Bhumi we
course.
did 2020, we did Bhumi 21, and we are shooting Bhumi 22 in end of September.
Chock-a-block calendar. We've caught them over here. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah.
Just before we leave, how do you all stay this fit? This traveling? People have this biggest excuse.
Drink a lot of water, don't have sugar, try to give up non-veg. You know, it's a good thing.
Hey, looking at me and
अरे यार और किसको देखूं मैं यार?
well, I follow the first one tremendously. 7 liters, 6 liters a day. The other 2 are on the way, sir. We are on the way.
और थोड़ा सा workout
वो तो भरपूर हो जाता है. But this reverse aging that the two of them are doing. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thank you.
Really was always the greatest pleasure.
Thank
Make
you.
sure beyond Bollywood, nobody could have explained it better than him. He's just laid it out. Like I said, Rajiv इतना explain नहीं कर पाए थे. The creator and director of this इतना explain नहीं कर पाए थे जिन्होंने ये कर पाए. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Take care and bye bye.